Hello and welcome back to Story of Our Lives. So, back when I was doing the social experiments online, I ran across some people asking me if I ever considered a career in politics. And I said no. No, it's not for me. It's a nasty business. Don't think do with it really. And that stayed for about 4 years. And then I started thinking, well, what if? Right? So I already had issues with the workforce and things that I didn't like about it. I wanted to change, couldn't. Um, but I decided to research it, and I did. I liked where this was headed because I was thinking about what position would I go for. I didn't like congressman. I didn't like senator or anything like that. I thought, how could I make a difference here? So I chose governor of Oregon because it's the most doable. And then I'm like, okay, well, we'll just see how things play out. That was the idea about a week and a half before Charlie Kirk had that tragedy happen to him. After that, it solidified my drive to become governor of Oregon, to rise up and do my part. And that required a lot more research, it required a lot more social networking. So that's when I focused on social media a bit. I have never done that before. I did a little bit of it when I was a pastor with an online church, and then I also looked into it a bit when I was in my mid-teen years. But I didn't like social media, so I got off of it. Um, did things here and there to conduct the research I needed on stuff, but then I told my friends that I decided to run for governor, 2030, and they were very happy because they're like, you're suited for it. So then I started thinking about problems to solve. And since my heart is for the workforce first and foremost, because of workman's comp cases, that's where the most diabolical scams come from. And I can only imagine how many workman's comp claims and cases got mismanaged and mishandled like mine and my father's. So I'll dive in a little bit about that. When I started working for this company, it's a shipping company. I won't mention names right now. Um, I was 21. I took this job to help my parents pay for the mortgage. I didn't need the job, but I thought it'd be nice to have the money. And the way it works is they want you to stack boxes and make a wall, these trailers. And some of the trailers have um, floors that open up, so there's compartments underneath that you got to fill up. And they want you to do 400 boxes an hour. And that was a little much. So the way it worked out was because of my shape, I was able to do more than they expected. So in the training ground, you have first week is 100 boxes, 2 weeks is 200 boxes, 3 weeks is 300 boxes, and fourth week is 400 boxes. Well, the first week I was doing 200. The second week I was doing 300. And that's when my shoulder started to hurt. And it was uncomfortable dealing with people who were threatening to send me home early for not doing the work they know I'm capable of doing. They didn't care that I was feeling soreness. They didn't care that I was, not able to do it anymore. Well, I go through this really problematic problem with them not listening to me. And then all of a sudden, one day at work, my right arm wouldn't move. I couldn't lift it. And the incident report was never submitted, even though I watched the guy write it down. So they didn't know when I got injured, what day. We could only think about it through the timestamps. So we narrowed it down, and I was on workman's comp for 7 months before I lost it. I lost it because I was questioning the doctor, the specialist. I was questioning him because he was claiming things were illegal for him to do when everybody else was doing the exact same thing I was talking about. I wanted to do stuff like writing down the diagnosis on the doctor's note so my employer can compensate my injury, and things like only one arm was on the claim when they both were on the claim. I asked my caseworker to check it. She did, and yeah, sure enough, they're both on there. She goes, "That's weird." So she did some digging, and then I lose it. I sued the insurance company, and I lost the lawsuit. There was a settlement of $6,000, and I was not happy. I was very, very angry because this doctor was agreeing with the IME, the independent medical examiner, who works for the insurance company, and his findings were that I had muscle strains in my arms, and the X-rays showed that I did have torn ligaments in my shoulders, one on this top one here, and then the superior labrum tear or slap tear in the right shoulder. That's the ligament that keeps the arm in the socket. So pretty scary. They also did not measure the tear, so we didn't know how big or small it was. And so the specialist writes that I had tendonitis, which I had no symptoms of. I was not swollen. I had no burning or anything like that. And then the IME signed off on my doctor's original findings. The specialist signed off that he agreed. So that's fraud. That's malpractice. And I can't sue for that. I tried. Due to being wrapped up in a workman's comp case, lawyers can't get in to sue him. And then there's a waiting period. And by the time it would be over, that waiting period would be up. So I couldn't sue him. So after that, I lost a lot of faith in the workforce and insurance companies. My lawyer couldn't get the doctor of the insurance company to concede. The problem was that doctor believed that I got hurt playing sports, because the tear is that of someone who pitches baseballs. They have this injury a lot. I didn't play sports. As we said, I was homeschooled. So there was no sports. There was no medical records that could back up this claim either. But the facts don't matter.
So they were disputing whether he even got injured at the job.
Even though the guy that wrote up the injury was one of the managers that was working with me at the time in that trailer when it happened. I had witnesses. But that doesn't matter. So physical therapy was also a joke. They would do things that was not going to help me heal. It was going to make it worse. They wanted me to lift weights when I couldn't lift weights. And when I would question them, they would get very silent. I refused some of the exercises, which they assured me that I can do, and refused. When I got a second opinion after I lost workman's comp from a different doctor that I had to pay out of pocket for, he got upset when I told him this. He goes, "You should not be lifting any weights at all. You shouldn't even be doing dishes until your muscles and body have healed." To give this a better example, I could only lift ounces at the time. Okay, that's what my doctor's notes said was ounces. I was on a 6-hour time period at work. I couldn't work a full 8-hour shift. And it's important to note that the first person I spoke to at the specialist office honored my work restrictions first. And then when I requested that it was still honored when I saw the specialist, he said, "Well, I can't do that. That's illegal." Your office did it, so it's obviously not illegal, and it's also been done for the last 6-7 months, so I'm confused. But regardless, that's how he handled it. They also did different ways of testing my strength, which the exercise didn't even do anything. It showed no merit at all. There's a big difference between pushing down someone's arms as they're pushing up to show the strength versus 2 fingers back and forth, resistance like this. It doesn't work like that, okay? So these doctors already did not have my faith. And I wanted to call insurance fraud early because they had me do acupuncture. And when I asked them what the point of that was, they didn't answer the question. The woman that agreed to do it, or offered to, or whatever, it was her idea. She's like, "Well, if you can't take the pain, that's fine. You don't have to do it again." I'm like, "No, I'm asking you what the point was, not that I couldn't take the pain. I got a high pain tolerance, that's not the problem." So, she avoided the question countless times, and I just gave up talking to her about it. My dad, around the same time, his injury was the floor, and the trailer was flat. It was flat, but it had a soft spot. Okay, and he's lifting this big, heavy tire, and he goes to pivot on that soft spot and tweaks his back. Well, then that later on develops into a bulge tear. So we both got injured around the same time, and he still works there. I do not. I had to sign an agreement that regardless of what happens, I cannot work here again. So that's fine. I don't work for the company ever again. But when I was talking to one of the ladies down there in the office about my workman's comp case, she let me know that she's got stacks and stacks and piles of workman's comp claims and stuff. I'm going, why? Why is there so many? Why is it not being investigated? I mean, if there's stacks and something's seriously wrong, but there's no investigation, just like how doctors aren't investigated when they got 2 stars on workman's comp review. So it's mind-boggling why these people still have jobs and why there's no investigations.
Well, and through the two, you and your dad, we found out that the doctors, the lawyers, the insurance company, they're all in it together. They have their own little ring of people that they use.
So they'll know each other, and they play God with your lives and your livelihood, trying to make the most money they can off of you and not care about the outcome. So with that, he hasn't been able to work very many jobs since then. And then that makes me the breadwinner. And I was fine up until some point about 3 months ago when menopause hit. And in doing my research on menopause, I found out there's not a lot of research on it, for one. For two, there's over 1 billion women that are going to come down with this year. And it is the number one reason women don't show up for their jobs. Or when they do, they want to just go home because you're full of so much anxiety and your brain fog and you just don't feel competent enough to do the job you're doing. And I almost became a statistic in walking away from my job. But knowing that I have to be the breadwinner with my little part-time job now, it's tough.
it's tough that there isn't anything protecting you as a worker here in the state of Oregon. They're for the corporations. They're for the big people. They're for the people that run the jobs. They're not for the worker. Mm-hmm. Even HR, our BOLI, which is Bureau of Labor and Industries, they're not for the worker anymore. They used to. They used to fight for your lunches, your breaks. They would get on the companies for this stuff. They don't care anymore.
No.
You don't have HR for you. We don't have anybody. Nobody's fighting for the worker anymore.
Same with OSHA. OSHA's the same way. So
my son, with all of these issues, decided, okay, well, I want to make a change. And it's not that Oregon is not only, one of the most expensive places to live, but you can't even work here fairly. And get the help that you need when you actually need it. And, we want to make a difference. We've been sitting on the sidelines doing our ministry and trying to help people come to the Lord, but at the same time, our country is falling apart. And especially our state is taking such a hit. We live in a beautiful state that should be drawing people in. It used to bring a lot of tourism here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, whenever Oregon makes the news, it's for all the wrong reasons. And we want Oregon to make the news because we're going the right direction and trying to turn it around. And, we're placing our hope in the Lord on this one, that this is the step that we need to take in order to make Oregon better than it's ever been. Yep. Because it really never was great at any point, because we've always had a Democrat governor in place. And we also understand, we don't have any experience in politics. We understand that, we got plenty of time before 2030 for us to go, I don't care if it's city council. I don't care if it's mayor. All I know is that I want to fix Multnomah County. For all of you guys that know Oregon, you guys know Multnomah County is probably the worst county to live in.
Yep.
The most expensive county to live in. And if you paid attention to our redistricting, which you can't do or change for 10 years, that Multnomah County has now been part of every single other county, which is why people wanted the greater Idaho, because our new redistricting is against the rural areas, which are more conservative.
Yep.
And so it's very frustrating to live in the most liberal county, the most expensive county, and trying to fix that is almost impossible. I'm hoping and praying, if you live here, that you will want to help get on board with changing Oregon. And we've been trying to come up with a name like MAGA, but not MAGA. We don't want to ride on the coattails of Trump.
Yeah.
So we're asking you guys, make comments. I thought make Oregon worth saving, but I don't like the word Moe's. I don't like that. That's but anything you guys can come up with that would be a good saying to develop merch, to get the word out that we need a movement. We need momentum. There's nothing really happening in Oregon that makes people want to jump on board and say, yes, let's save Oregon. Let's make it worthy again. It's beautiful. People need to come here. People need to, visit, tourism, come back home to Oregon to live because you want to be here again, because it's worth saving. It's worth being here and being a part of something great again. And worthy of people rising up. We've been waiting for an opportunity to say, okay, is this our time, Lord? We've always thought we're just going to relocate. We're just going to move somewhere else. Well, you just watch the mass exodus of New York. That's not going to save their state. It's not going to help their state.
It doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah. And other states are already full.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help to just migrate somewhere else. It rains a lot here. It can get depressing, but the rain is what makes Oregon so beautiful in the spring and summer and makes it worth coming to. So that's where we stand right now. We are just trying to get the word out, trying to get people interested, trying to get people that are of like mind, because we're really having an issue with finding people that agree with us, that want change, that want to band together and say, okay, enough is enough. And we also have to look at the future without Trump. 3 years is going to go by fast.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to have a bunch of people in play to say, okay, I'm going to rise up and I'm going to be what makes this country worth the country. And, the immigration's an issue. Our way of, I think Doge needs to be done to every state, honestly, and
for sure.
Fix it. Fix the problem, fix the corruption, fix where the spending is going. I've always said somebody's mismanaging the funds here. It's nothing new. Well, let's fix it. Let's start finding solutions. Let's brainstorm as Oregonians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's make that difference, that change that needs to happen.
So I thought a lot about it. I worked on solutions. My mindset is I'm already governor. So what are the issues and how do we solve them? That's a mindset you have to have for any job. Okay. One of my key issues with politics is how many times have you heard the same talking points? How many times have you heard people say the same stuff over and over again with the same promises and there's no change? They don't care. They're not one of us. They chose to lie to get a resume going, and that's why they want the governor's seat, so that it looks good on the resume. I believe that we need more men of action in the office and taking charge and helping the livelihood and the families of this wonderful state. Men of action is a wonderful direction because we're done talking.
Yeah.
Talking doesn't do anything. We've tried that. Okay. Lying doesn't do anything. We see right through it. I don't have a background of lying to people for a political gain. I don't have a background of hiding skeletons in my closet. I don't have anything to hide because I wasn't online. I wasn't, doing anything. I was just trying to live a normal life and work and support my family and then hopefully get my own life going. And then I got ripped off. 6 years of my life was stolen from me. I think this one's recovered, but not this one. This shoulder, I think, is still pretty banged up. But the muscle strains are another issue because it's causing muscle fatigue for using them for too long. So working a job is difficult. And I discovered that if it wasn't for my family, I would be homeless. There's no help for someone who gets hurt on the job and gets, canned. So what we need to do is fix that. I got lots of solutions for these problems, but I'm not going to speak about the solutions because I don't want it being stolen from me. But I made a list, and the list is getting bigger and bigger the more I read into stuff and learn things. It's just something that's got my attention for sure. And these people, they don't have leadership qualities. They don't have a strong character. What they have is something that says they look good on paper. That's it. So if you get somebody with integrity, honesty, and has their own moral compass and principles, I think you're better off. When I was 15, I had an assignment at school, online school, and it was about life. It's a life class. And I made an assignment where I wrote out 106 rules of what kind of person I wanted to be. That's 7 pages long. And I have held true to that all this time. I knew what I wanted to become. I knew who I wanted to become. And I focused on making my family proud, my God proud, and myself proud. The problem with politics is it's a twisted and unforgiving popularity contest. And that's where the shallow people usually interact. If you think back to high school, okay, you had a lot of people who were just shallow, but they're popular. And they weren't authentic. I was popular for being unpopular. I had a no um, it was like a no nonsense policy, but that I had a different word for it. Um, and that earned me a lot of respect, along with having the punch first, ask questions later mentality as well. Uh, so I was popular for not being popular, and I was proud of that fact. I have a lot to learn about this field, and I'm very interested in learning about it.
We also understand he's not going to, probably just jump to governor. We understand that, he may start small with city council or with mayor or something. But what we're saying is we want to jump in there and start making a difference in the world that we live in. And we believe that this is the first place to do it, with people telling him, hey, you got to get your story out. You got to tell people about what you've been through. In the comments, leave your story so that we have more things to add to his list of the things that need to change. Our homeless is an issue. We have never had a homeless problem out here where we live. We live 15 minutes away from Portland, but we still didn't have it until Max kind of drove everybody all over the city and all over the state. Max has made the homeless a problem in more places than it used to be.
Yep.
And then you throw in the drugs, you throw in, all the other stuff. And we've literally seen people completely out of their minds running amok in our streets. It's scary.
The criminal element has skyrocketed. And the governors here don't do anything. The government here doesn't do anything.
Police don't do anything. If you get the wrong, we have good police here where we live. Okay, don't get me wrong. But if you get the wrong shift of police, good luck.
Yeah. And the night shift seems to do a lot better, at least over here in Gresham. Because I know them from my previous job at being loss prevention. But it's a corrupt system that needs resolving, and I don't know of anybody who's as honest and open about getting it done than me. I wasn't aware of this really bad underside of corruption in the workforce until I witnessed it. So there has to be consequences for these people's actions. They have wrecked lives. They have wrecked livelihoods. They have ruined people early in their careers.
There's also such a high demand on you giving to the workforce and not being able to balance out your own life. Yeah. I'm still homeschooling my youngest, and I'm still trying to find time to do that while I was doing full-time work, while, I'm trying to balance all of this stuff, and they just don't give it to you. And they give you as little as possible. Like my job right now, 1 week's vacation, no matter how long you've been there.
Yep.
That's just not enough time with your sick leave on top of it to have time to yourself to where you don't feel burnt out. And that was my issue, was I was completely burnt out, going through menopause, losing my mind, and not feeling like myself anymore. And there was nowhere for me to turn. There was nowhere for me to go. There's got to be a change where you can actually still work, but also balance out whatever else you're doing with your life. But they just don't care about you. It's obvious in the workforce, wherever you work here, they don't care about you. You're disposable. We'll replace you with somebody else that cares. Or this is just a stepping stone. Go find something else. We don't expect you to.
Or if you do a job and you go far and beyond, okay, to the point where you make everybody else look bad, okay, they may not care. They may go, okay, cool, the work's getting done that way. But then if you get burnt out because you're the one that cares, well, now it's your fault and you're slacking.
Yeah.
The other side is you make the boss look bad, like I did.
Or you're a go-getter, you do your job, and they expect that of you every single shift. And if you're off by a little bit, something's wrong.
one of my bosses, my last boss, made up a bunch of stuff because I was making more money than he was in sales. And it was a setup because HR had me already blocked. They weren't going to talk to me at all. So that's how I know he did a lot of underhanded things to get me to quit. I couldn't fight. I couldn't argue his points because he already made up his mind that I did all this stuff. Okay, I couldn't dispute it. I just walked off the job.
And now I'm a target because of taking some time off to help my in-laws. And the state of Oregon, that doesn't qualify for the Family Leave Act because it's not my family, it's my in-laws. And, my father-in-law has Parkinson's and my mother-in-law suffered some strokes and they needed help. And work was not going to understand that. They were not being understanding about it at all. And so that made me a target. Then you throw in the menopause. I was just down and out completely.
She worked for the same company I used to work for. She got the job first, and I got hired on at a different location. And then I had to leave, obviously.
So workman's comp, my son, my oldest here, not being able to work, and then, me having gone down to part-time, it's not making ends meet. And there's no solution right now other than trying this out, getting your guys' opinion on it. He did put a Cash App on here so you guys could donate if you feel the need to campaign or to just help us get through this little hurdle that we're going through.
I've always believed that where the government fails, the American people take care of their own. That's something I want to incorporate into my policies because I care about the American people. We suffered a government shutdown that lasted
over a month,
longer than it should, and we're supposed to be the United States of America. Okay, so then why are we so divided? Why aren't the United States of America working together as a people,
as a nation?
That's what we're supposed to do. We rely too much on the government, the federal government. Versus if we were to help each other out, then the government shutdown would not be as effective.
But the state governments have to be for the people, not for the illegal immigrants. That's the other issue that we're fighting is our governments hate us. Yep. Those that have every right to be here are hated by our own government, and we're being slowly weeded out. And that's not how this should be working. This should be for the citizens that live here or that have come from other countries and worked hard to become a citizen. Those are the people that deserve, the SNAP benefits or the medical benefits if you're really struggling, just to get back on your feet again. It's not meant to be a lifelong handout for you.
It's a short-lived thing.
Mm-hmm.
But our schools are suffering, obviously. I don't know when the last fire drill was done. I don't know when they removed... Well, I don't know if they put it back. I know it was removed at one point. But the Pledge of Allegiance, I don't know if it's still in schools, but it needs to be. There's even debate class. Debate classes need to be a thing, too.
Civics, bring it back.
I was learning, through online school, I was learning psychology, law and ethics, okay?
Personal finance. There's so many people that can't even do math because of Common Core. Our school systems are a big reason for the social decline of our nation, and we need to fix it. It needs to be overhauled completely and totally. The wasted spending, do a Doge.
Yep.
Please, let's fix our wasteful spending.
I took economics and found it very fascinating. It was awesome. I only had one teacher that actually cared if I succeeded or not. When I was transferring to this other school, I spoke on the phone with the vice principal, and I told him the red flags and the cracks of this other school I was leaving, and he goes, well, that's concerning because I send people to that school. So he goes, okay. He's like, I don't care about you not having the credits to graduate. I have no doubt you'll be fine in the real world. He let me know that he felt that I was too smart for school.
So for us, we're looking for solutions. We're not just saying, hey, we want to run, we want to, we want solutions that will stay. We're not looking for a Band-Aid.
I have a few solutions for my list that I've made. By a few, I mean all. But again, I'm not going to speak about that quite yet. But I want to know what you guys think about marriage licenses. Are they necessary, unnecessary? Because to me, it seems like it's just another revenue for the government to get rich off of your happiest day. Not to mention how much they cost too, weddings and everything. So, I would like to see what you guys think about that. I believe in the American people of Oregon voting and deciding what laws should be made, what laws should be kept, or what laws should be removed. We need to focus more on what can make Oregon the best it's ever been.
We've also got an incredibly high tax hike.
Mm-hmm.
And we only have a short amount of time to get those signatures to try and reverse it. Kotek did it on purpose. I think we have half the time that we would have had to get those signatures out. So I would suggest you start finding places to go to do that. I'm sure that they're listed online. If not, maybe the Oregon Department of, or the Oregon.gov might tell you where to go to sign those. If not, we'll definitely put a link in here for you guys to go and figure out where they're taking signatures. We need to make sure that this thing's nipped in the bud. We cannot afford another tax hike that's going to ruin our state and what little we already make.
There's another issue with raising of bills. I mean, we've had them raise the amount before, and it shouldn't be a thing, honestly.
Electric, gas bills. I mean, they're insane what they want from us. And, gas hikes, gas hasn't changed much here in Oregon. Our grocery prices haven't changed much. Kind of upsets me that Trump's talking as though he's cleared the board of all of these things. We have not felt that yet.
Correct.
And that needs to be addressed.
We have a problem with Oregon's government. They believe that state law is more powerful than the federal law. So they're uneducated, and then they are spreading that as a narrative to people that live here, the Oregonians. So we have to really do an overhaul of what we've been listening to and give the facts, because there's a lot of people who are misled. Now, another issue that we're facing is that the governors here have not been for the people. They have they've been taking their time and trying to cause a lot of division with policies or things that they say will help, but they don't. Breaking promises and just, typical stuff. But it's not being talked about. The state of Oregon has not been discussed in a more positive light. It's been put through a lot. And we want to have Oregon be the front runner for a new system.
Yeah, I mean, we're tired of Oregon being the leading news for what's wrong with Oregon instead of what's right with Oregon. We need to address this so that we stop being the laughingstock of the country, with the worst governor of country, with the worst policies of the country, with everything. I'm done. And the worst school system in the country. Well, very close to. I think we're like 48 out of 50. At any rate, we're not doing well.
No.
And we need to fix it. And we need to not keep running out of states just to bypass what's going on. We need to say and fight. Again, we're not people that seek approval. We want to do what's right for this state because we love the state and we believe in this state. And we believe that, Multnomah County can get its act together. It has to, because of the redistricting of Oregon and what they've done with it, putting it in every single county. we have to make Multnomah County a little bit more conservative so that those that are conservative won't try leaving to the greater Idaho. That's not a solution.
Yeah. So what we're up against is doctors, lawyers, insurance companies, and the fact that the insurance over here fluctuates. So what you have is they'll tell you that you qualify if you make this much, okay? But if you make just over that amount, then they'll say you do or don't qualify. Or if you don't make enough either. It constantly changes. The number changes. So you don't know what you'll qualify for, won't qualify for. The laws here are also contradicting as well. So I thought about a lot of stuff. I mean, mail-in voting, we know needs to go away. Okay.
Machines. We need to go back to paper ballots. We
Yep.
need to go back to being voter ID,
Yep.
getting in there physically to vote. And,
Yep.
thank you, Tom Fenton, are finally getting to the federal judges to try and get our voter rolls from Oregon, California, and Illinois. We really appreciate that.
Yep.
I also want to give a shout out to Rick Dancer. I know that you live in Montana, but I want to draw you back to Oregon and make it wonderful for you to be here again. We'd like to have you back here in a state that you're proud of and happy to be a part of. That's really what we want. We've got to come together and find out what doesn't divide us, but what unites us and what gets our fire started so that we can make that movement happen here in Oregon and make it spread to other states. I mean, if we're really truly United States of America, any movement happening in any state should be putting other states on the same type of movement and lighting a fire because 2026 is going to happen before we know it. And then it'll be 2030. So we've got to figure out what we're doing to change laws to govern the citizens of this country, not illegals, to benefit those that, want to have children and want to get married. Let's increase the population, bring more generations into play. We can't just end the generations like this with no one getting married, no one having children.
Speaking of, I've been hearing issues with the hospitals. So hospitals have been putting people into debt for having children. Okay, so giving birth can put you into debt instead of it being the insurance company's fault. The insurance company, instead of them paying, they will pay like half or none, depending on what insurance you qualify for. So,
and we apologize. We know that Trump Care may have just helped kill Obamacare. We haven't been doing our research today because we've been doing videos all day. Yeah. So we will do some research on that and see what Trump Care is all about, because we really do need an overhaul of our healthcare system, period. I know some states have horrible healthcare. We do have healthcare for, people that don't make under a certain amount. We do have the healthcare for that.
We've known burn victims. We've known veterans that are not being taken care of. And it's something that has to change.
And also, since yesterday was Veterans Day, I just want to say I am so sorry for the veterans of World War II who feel cheated out of their service for the country of the UK and for us. I get what you're saying. I totally understand. And I apologize for the losses that you've had to go through these wars and feel that you've done it for nothing. I totally understand it, and I totally stand with you, and we thank you all for your service, and we hope to honor our veterans once again. I don't know what happened in Oregon. I heard that Kotek said we're not going to have a Veterans Day here, parade or whatever, decided to do a pride parade instead. I don't know what happened with that, but that's atrocious.
Yeah, it's just what we were hearing.
Just a slap in the face to Oregonians or to any service member who deserves to be honored one day out of the year. Come on, give me a break.
So there's a huge problem with debt in the state, and the banks don't help. The banks don't care if you lost your job or if you're having problems with work and not getting enough hours. They don't care at all. And so how does that help us? How does it help the American people at all? It doesn't. So there needs to be a program for that. There is a problem with sanctuary cities, no surprise.
Yeah.
There's a problem with so many things, but the list that I have been accumulating over time, um, I have a lot of solutions for it all, but again, it's hard to say when I will release all that because I don't want it being taken from me. Uh, I just know that Charlie Kirk should have statues in Oregon, and he should be honored for what happened.
He made a difference.
He did. I mean, he helped a family. There was a young man and his father not getting along over politics, and so they went to him, and he helped them out, and it was very well done.
We have to be able to find common ground.
Yep.
Stop letting politics separate us. We have to find the common ground. Every one of us needs food. We need shelter. We need, electricity. We need clothing.
And our food is a problem along with the water. We have to figure out what the problem is and fix it. There's another issue with people being assaulted for wearing MAGA hats. I want to see that fixed. I don't want to see that happen here anymore. There are drugs that should be outlawed. Obviously, they're not. We need to fix that. There's another issue with dangerous ideologies, and honestly, I want to hear your guys' opinion on those because feminism, as we were talking about before, is pretty much as dangerous as socialism to some degree. So we really want to hear your side of the things.
We also need to get rid of the hatred. I guess it's desensitization of these people that think that the only solution is to hurt someone or to end their life. That's wrong. We need to go back to right and wrong. I mean, it's very simple.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the delusion that they're under. Is they've been taught that there is no wrong, only right. As long as you feel that strongly about something, you're always right. And that's a school issue. That's a parent issue. The schools, I believe, should be teaching history about each state. Okay, each state has to be teaching about their own history to educate the citizens of that state of why their state is so important and the cool stuff that's happened in their state. Because there's a lot of history there.
There's a lot of history here in Oregon with the Oregon Trail and with Lewis and Clark.
That reminds me.
We have a lot of that.
The tourists also lost a lot when they were charged for going to certain parks in Oregon. And that's something that made all of us mad because we love going to these parks, waterfalls and other beautiful scenes.
Well, that got killed.
It did.
It did. Multnomah Falls wanting to give out permits, and you had to give 2 weeks notice before you showed it. That died. That was a stupid idea.
It's still part of our history now that I wish never existed.
It's still stupid policies. We need people with brains to actually implement good, solid policies that will actually make a difference and not make people just not want to be here and not want to visit. So again, we're open to all ideas, any direction in how this should go because we have no idea. This is completely new to us, but we feel like we got to do something instead of just waiting for a shoe to drop in our state to go bye-bye. I just can't. I can't see something as beautiful as Oregon just dying because people haven't risen up and taken it seriously.
Yeah. These issues would have been dealt with years ago. That's why they didn't really exist. But we have... It's an enormous weight. It is an enormous weight, and you feel it because it's not being dealt with or talked about. And so I would encourage everybody of Oregon that watches this, give me your input. What are things you're struggling with? What are things that was unfair in your life? And what would you like to see happen?
What changes would you like to see in Oregon?
Yeah, that way it would help me get more policies going. I don't come from money, but we're struggling enough as it is. So, it's not about the money, but like we said, I did leave a Cash App in case you feel called to help with the campaign funds or even um, medical or just because, you know.
And don't forget the slogan we're looking for: make
Yeah.
Oregon something, or Oregon something. I mean, however you guys see fit, we'll get that merch made, and we'll get that stuff. Hopefully some people even want to make the merch for us. That'd be awesome. But I'm just saying, we need to get the momentum going. Time is of essence because political, terms end so fast, and we got to get ready to vote quickly here, and we got to end Kotek's vote. Make sure you guys go in and sign those petitions. We've got very little time to get all those signed and get them into our governor's office and saying, no, we don't want it. We don't want it.
We also have an issue with Pine Grove. They are trying to move more technology into that small town. And they're worried about the radiation damaging their crops, damaging their livelihood over there. They're
out in the middle of nowhere. They don't want anything intruding upon their lifestyle that they currently have.
Yeah.
And
they're content with the way things are, and we've heard them talk about it. That's why I want to address it. We also have an issue with our Forest Service because Clinton gutted it. So I would like to see more jobs, and hopefully the federal government can help.
I also know there's a recall for Tina Kotek. I don't know how that's going, but we all got to do our part to try and get our government back in the hands of the people. For the people.
You got to find people with leadership qualities that know what they're doing and have a sound mind. This is when I think it's time for our generation to rise up and do it. Because one, you're up against no term limits, okay, which is why Gen X didn't really make it in there, okay, and then you have our generation who is watching a lot of things unfold, and we're not happy with this direction at all. It also makes it difficult to relate to people because a lot of things are done online instead of in person. And so the issue that we find ourselves in is that there isn't a platform for conservatives. And the ones that tried to make a way for it, they got bombarded by bots and shut down. So
we want to fix censorship because it seems to be one-sided as to what people can and cannot say. I think that if you're going to throw death threats out there, that should be taken seriously. It used to be. Used to be you go to jail for that stuff. We need to bring that back. We need accountability for those that are going to do things that are not right.
Free speech is one thing, but it doesn't. It doesn't protect you from the consequences of what you say.
Yeah.
And so there has to be some common ground on this, because another issue that we're seeing is they push the envelope so far that now they're retracting stuff. So some things you can say, some things you can't say.
Yeah.
And it's stupid. That's not free speech. That's censorship.
So we need to come into agreement all across the board, what is allowed and what's not allowed. And we need to start implementing that because, again, you cannot reason with people who don't think that they're accountable for anything. That doesn't work. Look at them. I mean, they're attacking physically with their bodies, ICE agents. Like, how well is that going to go for you? Give me a break.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There really has been this narrative where ICE is abducting people. ICE is kidnapping. And hate to tell you this, it's not kidnapping. They're criminals. They broke the law, federal law. That's why they're deploying the federal agents. And so you have a lot of people making videos on this, and one was talking about how we can use our Second Amendment rights to deal with ICE, and that's not true at all. The Second Amendment rights are for a tyrannical government. It's not for federal agents or federal officers.
And at this moment, there's nothing more tyrannical than what our government's currently doing to the citizens of the state.
Exactly. And we have a problem when it comes to no one's taking action. Now, on the other side of that, you have people that are extreme, and they want a war. They want problems.
We want to end this.
They want an excuse. And we can solve this peacefully, but we do have the right as American citizens to bear arms against the tyrannical government. It just comes down to who starts the first issue. So we've been very patient. We've been doing our best, and we believe that you take the fight to the polls.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know if we'll have a fair election, this next coming up election. So
right now, it's just getting the word out that we are interested in pursuing whatever political side that we fall into. We're completely new to this, so we're just getting the word out that we are interested in trying to make Oregon something again that's going the right direction, not the wrong direction.
Yeah.
In order to bring the people back here, to bring the businesses back here, bring manufacturing here, to try and make our state worthy of being proud again.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be really cool to have made in Oregon, wouldn't it? I mean, these cars today, they are generic. They don't have any character. I like chrome. I like American muscle. Things we were proud of. These days, these cars are all the same.
And you can't hear them.
Because they're electric. But these other cars, they look good, but that's it. There's no real power to them. There's no real character to them. I mean, cars are usually always damaged or needing repair. So they're cheaply made and always in the shop or always having some kind of problem. So what we got to do is bring back jobs and bring back what we used to stand for.
And bring back people that know how to run jobs so that they value their employees again. That's got to come back, because you're not going to have a workforce if you don't value who works for you and who makes your money for you.
Yeah, and what was special is my grandfather was a what's the word?
Union rep.
Yeah, union rep. And so he knew the laws, and he would educate my father, and they would work together on things and understand what is allowed and what's not allowed. And my grandfather was a pacifist at heart, but he would walk into the office and make sure that they would right the wrongs if they spoke to a employee and crossed the line. And he did a great job when it came to conflict within the the workplace.
Another thing that we're fighting. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have your own stories that you have to tell, but this was something that we felt we needed to share, because there's a lot of issues on all three of these videos that I think we've addressed that no one else is talking about. And there's no solutions. And we're ready to brainstorm with the Oregonians here and get some things going so that we can start making America the country it was meant to be in the first place.
Yep. It's really sad how things have fallen apart. But working together, we can make it a lot better than our government, obviously. So I also wanted to point out that we live in a world that doesn't understand consequences before they do something. Okay? So what you have is cause and effect. So you throw of rock into a pool or a stagnant pond. And you can control how big the ripples are going to be, right? By how big the rock is, how hard you throw it, or how small the rock is and how gentle you throw it. Well, a lot of people, that they don't see that. They just throw whoever they want with as much force as they want, and then they don't understand the consequences afterwards.
The ripple effect.
Yeah, they don't see it, and then when it hits, it's just like, but where did this come from? Why did this happen? And that's unfortunately a lot of what's going on, and they get the most noise, so they get the most recognition. And there's a lot of that in Oregon right now. So what we want to do is raise the awareness and talk to people who are as fed up as we are, and we will see what we can come up with as a team. We live here. This affects us. That's why the next governor has to be someone that doesn't affect us, but instead brings us all together.
United we stand, divided we fall. So let's unite, and let's not let a civil war take us. Let's not go that route.
We are already divided. That would not help.
Yeah.
So what we got to do is find a civil solution and work it out. It's just one of those things where we're going to see what happens.
So we would love your support, love your comments, love your likes and your shares, and follow us, because we've said goodbye to our ministries just to do this, and go in a different direction, and hopefully, God will prevail in all of this.
So this video is a lot longer because it was very important and there's a lot of points to get through. As time goes on, though, and hopefully, our independent journalists do get back to me. I did message quite a few of them for interviews and such because I really want to get the word out. But this is a huge step, and it's out of my depth. So it's something I look forward to. It'd be a fun challenge, but
and that's just it. I mean, we're not challenging one another to be better, to be bigger, to do better.
Right.
And I think that's really what's missing, and the motivation's missing. You keep hearing the news and you just feel like you're discouraged. You don't want. This is actually fueling us to want to do something.
She didn't like that I threw a wrench in her plans, because she really wanted to just move and get out of here. And I'm like, I'm going to become governor. What? And that was explaining why. You see, leaving the state does not fix the problem. And do you really want to hear on the news about how your state's doing and being hurt, or do you want to stand and fight? My parents didn't raise me to be a coward and run away from my problems. They raised me to run towards them and face them head on, which is why I think it's very important that we stand and we fight and we bring back Oregon to its former glory, even to a place of glory that we cannot remember, but instead choose to live in an Oregon that we can be proud of. And then hopefully other states will follow. So that's it for this one.
Thank you for watching, because it's been a long day of videos, and I know that there's people waiting for these to be uploaded. And so we thank you so much for being patient with us. It's been a long day, and we hope that you'll support us and support Oregon.
We're going to be talking a lot more about our stories about our family. Some of them have been untold because no one was really there for it. The ones that were are no longer part of our lives right now. So this will be really fun to reminisce and bring up the past. But
also the future of Oregon, because we really believe there's still a future here.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoy working with my mom. This is our 6th time working together. And
I think this will be the most impactful if it goes the way God wants it to. So be the most important.
when we quit our ministries, my mom read a comment on videos we did together. We did collaborate a few times. And one person said, "Keep going." So we listened, and I thought about doing this because it was nagging at me, and this is something that we're both good at, and something that I look forward to getting better with. Now, I use my phone. I don't have a setup. She uses her laptop. So we don't have any real technology to make it entertaining like everybody else can. But
Yeah, forgive me for not having the clips to show of the things that we were talking about before, but we're new to this platform the way that people normally run it. We don't have the the technology, but we're in it. Our hearts are in it, and we'll
get there.
Yeah,
we watch a lot of podcasts, and we understand that the reason why some of them don't have the following they deserve isn't because they're not well known, because they are. It's because the setting changed, the mood changed. They weren't who they were when we were following them, So for us, it's just seeing how far we can go with this and what it can do for other people. Because again, my parents read books that they raised 4 kids, and we just had a lot of fun being a family and being part of each other's lives. So
and we still challenge each other. So that's one thing that we like to do, and we highly suggest that when you're around other people that you do the same.
Yep.
You want them to be better. You want them to strive for being better and motivated. If we're not doing that, we're just existing. And
Yep.
I'm kind of done with just existing and watching our city and our state fall apart. Our country is so on the brink of destruction. We've got to stand up and fight for it every little bit that we can.
well, I'm happy with our decision here. I'm very, very happy with
I'm out
this.
of my comfort zone, I'll tell you that right now. This is not where I was expecting us to go.
Well, what's the point of adventure is too easy, though?
True. So we'll see what happens. But thank you all for watching us and for following us. And we look forward to doing more videos for you guys in the future.
Stay tuned for more.